Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to Humble Sheep Ministries. It's your girl, Kenyatta. Thank you for clicking on that button so that you can be built up, edified, and encouraged in your faith. Let's go ahead and jump into the topic. And today's topic is learning to deal with disappointment. Learning to deal with disappointment. Um, I can say from my own experience, disappointment stings. It really hurts because you put your expectations in a certain situation because you thought the outcome was going to happen in a particular way and it did not happen. And you can begin to question yourself. You can begin to want to question God. Like, you can begin to really feel discouraged in life. So, I myself have been familiar with disappointment, and you learn in life as a child that you will be disappointed in some way, shape, or form. Even sometimes as a child, your parent may have disappointed you in some kind of way. If you grew up in a type of environment at home where, you didn't feel like you received the proper love that you was supposed to receive as a child, disappointment can set in. And disappointment then can begin to be the of the way you view life, the way you view people, the way you view God. It begins to be like a trauma, something that, like, okay, I have this fear of being disappointed, so I'm gonna put up this wall and not trust people. I'm gonna put up this wall to not even trust God, because if God loved me, why would he allow me, or allow me to grow up in this particular environment? One thing I can say, we can't choose who is our parents, but we can choose to break those generational curses, break those generational habits and things like that, and get and produce something better in life, and look at the past as, hey, I overcame it and it did not take me out. Or you can choose to, you know, walk and allow disappointment to be the lens of the way you view life in general. Um, God don't want that for us. He don't want us to walk in the lens of disappointment. He want us to be healed, because he have so much better for us in this life. And when you allow disappointment to be your point of view in life, that's where the enemy will remind you of your trauma. Like, hey, you don't want to trust that person. Hey, you don't want to trust God. Look what happened in the past. And, oh, you don't want to go through that again. And then you can prevent yourself from experience real intimacy with God and intimacy in your relationships and things in that nature. So I feel like, me myself, when I experienced going through disappointment, I had to look at things in a bigger picture. I had to take a look at the full situation, and say, hey, yes, this happened. I thought this was going to happen, but it didn't. I allowed myself to feel that pain. I did not try to suppress it. And I chose to forgive. I chose to pray for the situation or the person, because sometimes people don't know any better. And if you see that people don't know any better, you give them a grace to forgive them and move on with your life. I don't mean you need to let them back in your life, but you give them the grace by like, hey, this person don't know any better. This is all this person ever seen. Ain't no telling what they went through. So I'm gonna give that person the grace, forgive them, pray for them, and move on. And allow myself to feel the feelings of disappointment, surrender those feelings to God, and choose to keep going. There was this particular story in the Bible. I don't know if you're familiar with the story. It's called the 3 Hebrew boys that was thrown into the fire. Their name was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And they chose not to worship the king's gods and the golden image. So they said, hey, we're not going to bow to your gods. We're not going to bow to you. And they said, we don't need to defend ourselves. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship your image. So they kind of said, hey, yes, God can rescue me from the fire. But even if he don't, we're not going to bow to what you want us to do. So they took things and put it into God's hands. Like, yes, we have the expectation that our God can deliver us from whatever we go through in life. But even if he don't, we're not going to bow to the disappointment. We're not going to bow to the failures. We're not going to bow to the losses. We're going to choose to still walk in the knowledge that God is still good. Nobody lived a perfect life. I don't care what people put on social media. Everybody experienced disappointment, and they may not be showing it, but trust me. But your disappointments don't have to make you or break you. The only way you allow your disappointments to break you is if you put up a wall over your heart against loving and trusting in God. Many people believe that God disappointed them and walked away from God. But today I'm just giving y'all an opportunity that if you ever feel like, you went through disappointment, which I went through it, and it hurts. It can be very traumatizing when you know you deserve better, when you know that life can be so much better. But it's going to happen to everybody. It happened to Jesus. Jesus had to go through disappointment by someone in his own circle. But he still said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. And he still trusts in the faithfulness of God. He didn't allow the circumstances to change who he was. Many times when we get disappointment, those things changes us. And we begin to not know who we are anymore. It's because we allow disappointments to change us to something that we are not. So, my prayer is that today you allow to let go of the disappointments and ask God to open your heart to receive the love and goodness and faithfulness that he wants to pour out, because it's nothing like it. You don't have to harden your heart, You don't have to conform to the patterns of this world. But you can be renewed in your mind of the goodness of God, no matter what disappointments you face in life. I pray this message blessed y'all. Y'all have an amazing day. Bye.